In the early days of Islam, when Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, began preaching the message of Tawheed, the oneness of Allah, he faced fierce opposition from many in Makkah. But perhaps the most painful and persistent enemy was not a stranger. He was family, his own uncle, a man named Abu Lahab. Who was Abu Lahab? Abu Lahab's real name was Abd al-Uzza ibn Abdul Muttalib. He was the paternal uncle of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, being the brother of his father, Abdullah. He belonged to the respected Qurayshi, clan of Banu Hashim, and outwardly held a noble status in society. The name Abu Lahab means father of flame, a nickname he received due to his fiery red complexion and temper. Ironically, it later became symbolic of his fate, burning in the fire of hell, as declared in the Quran. His relationship with the Prophet before Islam. Before Islam, Abu Lahab did not have any open hostility toward his nephew. In fact, two of his sons, Utbah and Utaybah, were engaged to the Prophet's daughters, Ruqayya and Kulthum. The ties between the two families were typical of close relatives in Arab society. However, everything changed when Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, received the divine revelation and openly began preaching the message of Islam. The turning point, Mount Safa. One day, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, climbed Mount Safa and called out to the people of Makkah, saying, "O people, if I told you that an enemy army is advancing toward you from behind this hill, would you believe me?" The crowd, trusting his truthfulness, responded, "Yes, you are the truthful and trustworthy." Then he said, "Then know that I am a warner to you before a severe punishment." Upon hearing this, Abu Lahab shouted angrily, "Taban laka, Ali hadha jamatana. May you perish! Is this why you gathered us?" This public insult was so vile and shameless that Allah immediately revealed a surah condemning Abu Lahab by name. Surah Al-Masad, a divine curse. Allah revealed Surah Al-Masad, Surah 111, a short but powerful chapter in the Quran that condemned Abu Lahab for eternity. Tabbat yada Abi Lahabin wa tabbat, perish the hands of Abu Lahab, and perish he. Ma aghna anhu maluhu wa ma kasaba. His wealth and whatever he earned will not benefit him. Sayasla naran dhata lahab. He will burn in a flaming fire. Wamra'atuhu hammalat al-hatab, and his wife, the carrier of firewood. Fajidha hablum min masad. Around her neck is a rope of twisted palm fiber. This is one of the most unique surahs in the Quran. It names and condemns a specific enemy. It is also a miraculous prophecy. Had Abu Lahab accepted Islam even outwardly to prove the Prophet wrong, the surah would have been invalidated. But he never believed, and thus fulfilled Allah's words exactly. The role of his wife. Jamil, Abu Lahab's wife, Jamil, Arwa bint Harb, was no less hostile. She was the sister of Abu Sufyan and shared her husband's hatred for the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. She is famously known as Hamalata al-Hatab, the carrier of firewood, mentioned in Surah Al-Masad. Scholars interpret this as both literal and metaphorical. Literally, she used to scatter thorns in the Prophet's path to harm him. Figuratively, she spread lies, hatred, and slander, fueling the fire of enmity against Islam. She even tried to attack the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, with a sharp stone when she heard about the surah that cursed her and her husband. Abu Lahab's aggression toward Islam after the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, declared Islam, Abu Lahab became one of the most vocal and aggressive enemies of Islam. Among his many actions, he forced his sons to divorce the Prophet's daughters, breaking family ties out of hatred. He publicly mocked the Prophet, insulted him, and spread false propaganda. He used his wealth to fund the persecution of Muslims instead of helping his own blood relative. He rejoiced when the Prophet faced hardship and refused to support him even when other family members, like Abu Talib, defended the Prophet's safety. His miserable end. After the Battle of Badr, in which many Quraysh leaders were killed by the Muslims, Abu Lahab was devastated. Just days later, he fell severely ill. Most historical accounts say he died of a contagious disease, possibly plague or a kind of infection, so severe and repulsive that no one wanted to come near him. His corpse lay for several days until his own sons or relatives, out of shame and fear of the disease, finally buried him by throwing stones from a distance, covering him in a pit like a dog. He died in humiliation, unloved and abandoned, just as Allah had promised. Conclusion: a lesson in arrogance and family betrayal. Abu Lahab's story is one of arrogance, pride and betrayal. He saw the truth with his own eyes. He knew the honesty and integrity of his nephew, but his pride and hatred blinded him. He preferred his status, his wealth, and his ego over the truth. And so, Allah sealed his fate in the Quran for all of history to witness. Let this be a lesson to all of us. Even blood relations cannot save a person from hell if they oppose the truth and reject guidance. Abu Lahab had every chance, but he chose arrogance. And arrogance before Allah leads only to destruction.